Today we've got another roundup of the most unique and unusual EDC gear I could find. We've got a really fun list today. I told you all it wouldn't be very long until the next video was ready for the series, so without any further ado, let's get straight into it. First up on the list is the Wuben X1 Falcon. I've been a huge fan of the Wuben X series for some time. I've been carrying an X2 in copper as part of my personal daily carry for a little while now. This one looks almost the same, except a much larger version. That is because this thing gets up to 12,000 lumens of output, is by far the brightest flashlight I've ever tested, and absolutely overkill for like 99% of us. Going over some of the basic specs, it is 5 inches tall, 2.2 inches wide, and 1.1 inches deep. It weighs 379 grams, so just a little bit over a pound. This thing is a heavy brick. It has three 6,000 Kelvin LEDs. They are the CREE XHP 70.2s. Gets up to 12,000 lumens in turbo mode, which I didn't fully comprehend until I tested it out. I bounced it off of a wall in my apartment and practically blinded myself from the indirect light. I think the more useful high output for this though, it gets up to 2,600 lumens on the high mode, and that'll run for 2 full hours. Usually at that brightness, you might get, 15, 20 minutes or something on a lot of the smaller EDC flashlights. 2 full hours out of this at 2,600 lumens is really great. This thing is large for an EDC flashlight, but very compact considering what you're getting here with the battery capacity and the brightness. It does charge via USB-C, which is really nice, but one problem I did encounter with this, the housing, the USB-C port is inset pretty deep into this metal case, so certain USB-C charging cables won't work properly with this, so kind of tread lightly. It has active cooling fans built in, which are pretty quiet, but very effective considering the brightness this thing is outputting. It doesn't get super hot or uncomfortably hot. I got this white color with the black accents. It definitely has like a stormtrooper-y type of look. They have a black one as well though, but really impeccable build quality. The brightest thing I've ever tested or used personally. Really great form factor, still a good handhold on this for ergonomics and everything. Other than the USB-C port being a little bit too deep, I have zero complaints. This would make a great addition for an emergency kit or if you do any sort of outdoor work at night. Next up, we've got the BACtrack C6 Keychain Breathalyzer. This is something I've wanted to pick up for myself personally for a number of years, and it has been such a nice addition just to throw on a keychain, have with your car keys. Drinking and driving is no joke. It's not safe. It's dangerous for you. It's dangerous for others. Something like this, it weighs 1.5 ounces and is very keychain sized if you want to keep it with your car keys. You can use it standalone. It'll read out your blood alcohol level on the front here, but it also connects to a smart app that they have that'll give you an estimate for the time until sober. It runs off of a single AAA battery, which is good and bad. I like that you can replace the battery easily, but I would have loved to see an option to charge this via USB-C in the meantime. Really about it for the rundown of what it is. I think there is also a fun factor here as well. If you're out drinking with your friends, this makes for a fun little party trick. It is also important to know, this isn't a professional police grade one, no matter what their marketing materials might say. So, don't trust this with your life. It's inexpensive, it's small and lightweight. It can be kind of fun in a party setting and just adds a little bit of extra peace of mind without much investment up front. Next up on the list, this is a carbon fiber comb from Chicago Combs. Something I hadn't thought about or really known about personally was static from combs. Apparently that's a bigger issue or thing for some people. Wooden combs are naturally anti-static compared to their plastic counterparts, but carbon fiber combs, you kind of get all of the benefits of a plastic or an acetate comb, but with the added durability of carbon fiber. Really cool touch. Chicago combs, they are actually made in Chicago as well, so a USA made comb. They're not very expensive either. I think all of their models are $15. They have 10 different ones in total. I've got an array of a few different ones here. This is their original #1 comb. I do kind of like this extra like finger hole cutout thing. I think it makes for some really good ergonomics. They have a wider tooth one as well if you have a long beard or something like that. Not much else to say about them in terms of specs or anything. I do love finding these made in America products like this that aren't very expensive. Really well built, small-ish company here. They do have titanium ones available as well, but they are going to be a bigger jump up in price. The carbon fiber though feels really great. Would definitely recommend it if you're in the market for a comb. They have quite the array of sizes and everything too. Really quick before we get into the next item, I want to give a huge thank you to Soundcore for sponsoring this week's video and introduce you to their all-new Boom2 Plus portable outdoor Bluetooth speaker. I've been a huge fan of Soundcore for a while now. We've talked about the Motion 300 and the regular Boom2 in a few of my past videos. This new Boom2 Plus is absolutely wild. It's definitely lived up to my high expectations and is easily the best sounding and loudest outdoor Bluetooth speaker under $400 that I have tested. It uses a 2+2 channel system with dual 50-watt woofers and dual 20-watt tweeters totaling up to 140 watts of power. The mids and highs both have a ton of clarity, but the bass is where this thing really shines. The Bass Up 2.0 tech boosts the power from 100 watts to 140 watts. It's loud and punchy, but it doesn't get muddy even at full volume.
God, I'm just playing with them now, yeah. Oh my God, what she saying said loud, yeah. I can't recite it, I'm in the gym, but I am not flexing. Came from a floor, I'm needing.
I can't stress enough how great this thing sounds, but the even crazier part is how loud it can get. We just threw an outdoor picnic birthday party for my wife last weekend, and it did not disappoint. This could practically replace a PA setup or an outdoor speaker system for a large party. Sound quality and volume are priority number one, but there's a ton of other stuff going on here too. The side radiators have built-in lighting that syncs to the music. You can customize the colors and effects in the Soundcore app, along with the EQ settings if there's a certain sound that you're looking for. It's also IPX7 waterproof, fully submersible, and it floats. No need to worry about it in the slightest if you're hanging out at the beach or by the pool. Charges via USB-C with 30-watt fast charge. The charge port also doubles as a fast charging power bank if you need a quick top off while you're out for the day. Build quality is excellent, of course, as I've come to expect from Soundcore. It's pretty big, but it has a really nice sturdy handle, and it also comes with a shoulder carrying strap. It's truly impressive. I've never tested anything like it before at this price point with these specs. Be sure to check the links in the description down below if you want to learn more, pick one up for yourself. Huge thanks again to Soundcore for sponsoring this week's video. Got an array of multi-tool cards from MRF Tools up next. This is the Hunter, the Fisherman, the Urban, the Lumberjack, and the Universal 4.0. MRF Tools had reached out to me a while back. I think they're a pretty small company. They're based in the Ukraine. I think these are manufactured in Ukraine as well, which is really cool to see. But they just had some really fun and clever designs that I thought would be worth talking about for this series. First up, I'll talk about these more emergency kit type of cards. We've got the Urban, the Hunter, and the Fisherman. I would say varying degrees of practicality here. It is more of an emergency type of thing anyway. I really love the Fisherman setup, for an emergency kit. If you're stranded in the backcountry, this is a really great way to keep some extra fishing hooks with you. You also have kind of a little lure type of thing here that you could attach, and you have a little fork. I'm not sure how useful the fork would be, but I just do really like having the fishing hooks here. The Hunter one, kind of fun and kitschy little thing that might be useful in a survival scenario. And lastly, probably the most practical is the Urban. You have a couple of sewing needles and emergency buttons. You have SIM card tools if you don't have an eSIM phone quite yet, and then some tweezers that you can kind of put together yourself. Next up is the Lumberjack, a little more straightforward. You have a bottle opener, a flathead screwdriver, a few different sizes of hex wrench, and then a little built-in kind of wider tooth comb here. It's stainless steel with this sort of green Cerakote on here. I do really like this one. It is pretty simple and straightforward. Last up, we've got the Universal 4.0 card. This thing is overwhelming to say the least. I got the tool attachment here, which gives you a blade on one side and pliers on another side. They claim this card is over 80 tools in a single multi-tool card. I think that's kind of stretching it a bit, to be honest, but there is some really useful stuff in here. The addition of a knife and pliers is a really nice touch on this one, though. It kind of gives you more of a reason to carry it and use it on a regular basis instead of in more of an emergency setting like these ones. Very cool and unique, though, from a small company in Ukraine. Be sure to check them out if any of these sound fun for you. This is the Nitecore Carbon Battery 6K. It had been a while since I looked through Nitecore store. I'm a huge fan of the MB10000 power bank. It's my go-to for ultralight backpacking. I was checking around their site the other day to see if there's anything new or interesting, and I saw this. This is a 6,000 milliamp hour battery. It's basically about the size of a 21700 battery, just a little bit extended on the top, just to give you a reference outside of the video. It weighs 3.1 ounces, so a little over 2 ounces less than the MB10000, which is definitely the best, weight to capacity rating out of any power bank I've ever tested. All of that stuff, the weight and the form factor was all great and as expected. One thing I didn't realize though, it only charges at 10 watts, which is a bit of a bummer by today's standards. If you're okay with the slower charging speed though, it is extremely light and extremely small and a pretty unique form factor for power banks. Back to it with another tool. This is the Mileseey D9 Pro laser measure. I've been looking around for a better laser level for some time now. I have a really basic cheap one that is extremely annoying to use. This is the laser level I've wanted for a very long time, but with a ton of extra built-in features. I might be naive or ignorant as to what the market looks like for this sort of thing. It's a bit out of my wheelhouse, but I was very impressed with this. You have obviously, a laser level measurement. You have a built-in digital display here that will show you the angles as well, which is really nice, but it also works in a few other ways. You have a built-in digital level if you want to set it flat on a surface, so it kind of works as a bubble level in that way, but you can also measure multi-point distances and it calculates the angles to determine the length. So if you want to measure, edge to edge on a ceiling without having to get up there or use the iOS app that doesn't really work very well, this will kind of calculate and do all of that for you with an alarming amount of accuracy. Build quality is excellent. It's a full aluminum body. It's magnetic as well, so you can mount it to a metal surface really easily. You have an 1/8" screw mount on the back as well if you want to set it up for a tripod. There's even a little built-in flashlight on the side, which is kind of an extra fun little addition. Overall, really impressed with this. It's probably the last laser level I will ever need. Got a few unique and tiny tools here from Tightener. First up, this is the tie spanner. This is a little 2-inch tall titanium multi-tool that has a surprisingly useful tool set for the size. You have an adjustable spanner or wrench, a bottle opener, a little nail puller. You also have the ability to measure the distance for the wrench adjustment, so if you want to use it kind of as a caliper. And then on the bottom you have a little tungsten head that I thought was a glass breaker. It might technically work, I'm not sure, but they market it as a box opener or a little kind of self-defense attacker type of tool. Really cool set of features. I honestly didn't realize it would be this tiny until I got it in person. It only weighs 13 grams, so less than half an ounce. The one downside with this though, this thing comes out for $90. I think that's a little steep for what you get. It is very cool and very well built, but definitely a premium price tag. Next up is the tie roller. This is a little 5-inch measuring tool that's meant to be able to measure more irregular surfaces much more easily. It only covers 5 inches or 10 centimeters depending on what version you get, but it will click into place with each rotation, so you could probably do multiple and just kind of add in your head as you go. Very, very niche, but extremely well built and probably very useful for the person that would need it. Next up, not quite as unique or crazy, but I thought it was just a really nice knife. This is the Dragonfly knife from Tightener. This entire knife, including the blade, only weighs 10 grams. It uses number 24 surgical blades. They're pretty easy to swap as well, which is a nice touch. The blade itself is 2¼ inches. The body comes in at 3¼ inches, so total open you have 5½ inches. Incredibly small and lightweight. This would make a perfect keychain knife. You even have a little hole here. It's called the Dragonfly, probably because it kind of looks like a little dragonfly wing. Not as unique as the others, but really great if you want an ultralight knife for your setup. Next up, we've got the MetMo Ratcheting Pocket Driver. I have actually talked about this thing before when it was on Kickstarter, and I do my best not to do any repeats for this series, but it just recently got its public launch, so it is available just to the general public to buy, so I thought I would mention it again because I've been using it like crazy for the past, 6-7 months, however long I've had it. I also have a few new accessory items that have recently released. The Pocket Driver is definitely one of my favorite tools though. It's made from solid stainless steel. They call it a 3-in-1 design because you're able to use it kind of in 3 different configurations. First and most obvious is the closed configuration. It's just kind of like a regular screwdriver, bit driver type of handle. You can flip it open though. This is probably where I use it most often. It kind of feels just like a more ergonomic version of a straight ratcheting driver. The grip is really good and you get a little bit more leverage with the angle. The third position here, you can kind of just have this fully out to optimize the torque, or you can use it, with a single finger if you're doing something light and easy. Is just incredibly satisfying to use. It's very fidgety. I love this exposed ratchet type of design. I used it to build out my lounge chair and the C7 office chair behind me that I talked about the other week. They have recently come out with some accessories though that I've been testing out and I'm very impressed with. It'll use any 1/4-inch bits that you want, but they did design their own bit set that's made with S2 steel. Really great quality of 9 bits in total for that set. And then you can see here, this is called the Pocket Pack. So you get this nice little leather storage pouch that'll house a bunch of bits and the pocket driver itself. With the pocket pack though, you get a few extensions and adapters that'll allow you to use it for sockets or precision bits. The pouch is full grain leather, everything's double stitched. The overall construction seems really nice. I'm not sure what leather they're using specifically, but it kind of seems like a pull-up leather with the discoloration the more that you use it. You have a little belt loop on the back here, so if you want to attach it to a belt. My wife saw this and said it looks like something Indiana Jones would carry, which I got a kick out of. Really impressed with the quality of the accessories, and I've had the pocket driver for some time now. It has definitely become a favorite. I absolutely love it. Super satisfying and useful and functional. You can definitely tell like engineering nerds have built this stuff, and I truly appreciate that. That's going to wrap it up for today's video though. I really hope you enjoyed the list for this one. I told you all before the last one was over that it wouldn't be too long because I already was building up the list. This has become one of my favorite series to do. I really hope you're enjoying it as well. Let me know down in the comments if there's any fun, unique, unusual, weird EDC gear you want me to test next. Thank you all so much for watching though, and I'll talk to you in the next one.